Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another episode of Spill the Beans. Today I'm sitting down with my boy Jeremiah Benson up at the my Legacy Lodge Mountain House up in Western North Carolina. So I'm hosting a mastermind this week with 20 rockstar entrepreneurs who came up. Jeremiah flew all the way in from Alaska. So he's got a background in the trades, got into real estate a couple years ago and got into real estate investing in the past 12 months and is doing some amazing things, really investing a lot in himself, creating some amazing relationships, and you're gonna hear about some of those doors that's opened up. So I'm excited for you to hear his story. Jeremiah Benson, welcome to Spill the Beans.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Good. I'm excited that you're here, man. So we're hanging out at the Legacy Lodge right now in North Carolina.
Beautiful. Massive.
Yeah, it's a cool property, special property.
Way cooler in person than the pictures.
It is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool in pictures, but it's like,
it's
way more, it's just more impressive once you're here and you're like, damn.
It's the wow factor when you're staring up at these massive beams and stuff.
Yeah, that's wild. But no, man, but you came in from Alaska.
I did,
Got a lot of good stuff going on and invested in making some amazing relationships. Let's talk about, I want to share a little bit about your story with everyone, and then I want to talk about kind of how you got involved in real estate investing. You actually started out as a limited partner in a couple of projects, which I think is an amazing way.
First move
to get going, and at least start rolling, you know. And then you took down the 8-unit apartment complex, and then you're working on what 80 some storage units,
82
right?
82 unit storage. Yep.
Awesome. Let's hit on all of it. So, give me the background. You come from really the trades, right?
Yep. Come from the trades. My dad was a plumber. Naturally, I gravitated towards the plumbing HVAC field. I spent 16, 17 years in the commercial plumbing, heating, plumbed a lot of multifamily, hotels, hospitals, houses, I mean, you name it. Worked my way up, and 3 years ago, I decided to make a career shift. And
what was the impetus of that? Why?
You know, I always had a passion to be in real estate. I always did. And then in addition to some certain dynamics where I was working kind of pushed me to do what I already wanted to do. Mm-hmm. So I jumped. So like we all stay in situations because we're comfortable or it's for that sense of security. And I finally was like, I'm out. I can't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. So I jumped. Had the support of my wife.
I want to, I think it's fascinating why people. I mean, because dude, you did that for a long time, right?
I was good at it too.
And how long did you do it for?
16 years.
So it's fascinating to me. Of what was the catalyst that made the change? Why do people finally make it?
Because I didn't feel like I was fulfilling my potential. I thought there was way more to my story. Yeah. And so that's what I pursued.
I love it, dude. It's not like it was leaving pain, but it was like pursuing pleasure. Correct. It was pursuing something that was bigger.
Like I didn't have it terrible. Yeah. I was making great money. You know, I had some good coworkers. I wasn't waking up with that feeling like I was doing what I was meant to do. So.
Yeah. And did that just happen, or did it just like compound over years and years?
Yeah. And then there was a final straw moment. And thankfully, my wife is a successful nurse, and she gave me a little runway to just make that jump. Mm-hmm. And I jumped.
It's awesome.
I went from 6-figure salary to 0 as a realtor.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah. So tell me about the transition. So what happened?
Yeah. Quit. And
you already had familiarity with real estate from working on real estate, but not from selling real estate? Have you ever owned anything, brokered anything before?
0 sales experience.
Okay.
Like nothing. So I owner built my own house when I was 23. And I'm familiar with the construction process and real estate in general, but never in that sales role. And so it was tough, man. 7 months. I spent 7 months before I got my first commission.
Really?
Yeah. But I kept going and I kept learning, networking, and just like brick by brick by brick. I mean, I'm looking at that brick column, and a guy probably spent all day placing brick by brick. That's kind of how I've got to where I am now.
Yeah, I love it, man.
Yeah.
Now, there's actually some parallels in our story that I didn't realize. Like, Kate's a nurse, right? Or had a nursing degree, and she, my wife, kind of floated me in business early on, right? It was her paying for all the bills, essentially paid for our wedding. and while I was trying to get my business off the ground too.
Yeah.
So I think that's a critical point, is realizing you got to have somebody who's in your corner, right? Like being willing and able to support you and believe in you, and that's
huge.
important. And Letitia's a rock star.
She's a rock star, and so yeah, the business has been consistent now. We got consistent commission income, and now I'm transitioning from survival mode, building my real estate sales side, to let's do something. Let's buy assets now with that commission money.
Yeah, and all right. So 3 years in, now you're back up to more than six figures. Yeah. Right. And making some money. What was the pivot from like, hey, brokering's cool, but now I need to start owning real estate?
Well, honestly, I got into real estate sales to invest.
It was always
I've always wanted
that.
to be a real estate investor. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, that was in the back of my head the whole time, and I was just finally financially and educationally ready to start swinging the bat. Because,
Do you think, well, let's talk about your investing, then I want to ask you a question about having a real estate license. But like, all right, so now you've saved up enough money, made some money, wanted to get involved in the investing side, but like you didn't have a bunch of deals that you could jump into yourself and buying yourself. So when you came into the mastermind, you're like, hey,
I was stuck.
Let me go be an LP somewhere then, right? That's going to at least get me into a friggin' deal, which I think is an amazing strategy, because there's so many people who they want to hold out, and wait for their own deal. Yeah. And in my mind, it's like, dude, just like get the experience, right? How else can you get these? You're making offers, great, but like also get involved over here. Just being involved in the passive side of investing in a project is going to give you a ton of experience and a ton of insight and knowledge, and just being in the game. And it's going to give you more posture when you're talking to sellers and talking to other private money lenders or brokers about it.
It's huge. And for years, even when I was a W-2 plumber, I was listening to podcasts, consuming content, buying courses, like all the stuff we all do. Yeah. And I was never swinging the bat. Yep. And so I finally got capitalized, I got educated, and then I surrounded myself with people that are doing the things I want to be doing. Yep. And you just start borrowing the belief from people, and it just becomes natural to just start swinging. Yeah. And that's what I started doing.
Dude, you're almost like, it's pushing you, and motivating you, and inspiring you to go out and do that stuff. And at the same time, we were talking during the formal mastermind part a little bit earlier. You're like, dude, I can't show up with the same problem that I had at the last event, because there's an accountability factor, right? There's people who are gonna be looking at me and be like, dude, fucking get over the same problems, right? Like, let's move on. You shouldn't have. Yeah. But here's the good news, man. Everything's in comparison, right? Because I've seen people who've had the same problems for 15 years. Right. I don't want to be there. Yeah, not 6 months or 8 months or whatever. So it's like you're making big progress, and you've made big headway in just 12 months. Last year mastermind, dude.
It's funny too, because I think as high achievers, you never feel like you're doing enough. But like when I look back at 2021, I swung some bats.
Dude, I love it.
Like I started just playing all in, and it's a little bit nerve wracking, but you gotta have the faith.
But so what's happened? So now. You've taken on the 8 unit. You already closed on that, right?
2 LP positions in 2 different deals.
How much total?
168 units.
168 units. Yep. How much did you invest?
200,000.
It's 100 each.
Yep. Which 10% preferred return, paid quarterly. That particular one's 2.5% equity, in perpetuity. Yeah. So.
The idea is you get your money back.
Yeah, investing passively, consistent cash flow, equity, like those are all the things I want to help people get into myself.
Did you, was it hard to invest passively because you're like, well, I want to be active, I don't want to use my own money, to passively invest in somebody else's project when I can bring it into my own deal? Did that ever cross your mind?
Absolutely.
And so what was the deciding factor of why would you go and deploy your money into somebody else's deal instead of holding it out for your own?
Because ultimately, I want to raise capital for projects and bring opportunities to other people as I've seen them work for myself. So I haven't gone full cycle, but how beautiful is it to put $100,000 into a real asset, get 9% preferred return annualized, quarterly or monthly, however they pay you out. You own percentage of that deal in perpetuity. So now you're getting cash flows forever. You're getting refi proceeds. You're getting all your money back in 24 months, and you get proceeds on a sale event. Like,
Dude, I mean, that's
crazy.
That's how real wealth can be built, you know, and toe to toe against anything else. I don't think there's anything else that's better, safer, more predictable, more tax advantage that has cash flow and equity growth and all the other benefits that are backed by rental real estate. And
so there's a lot of people that make a lot of money in their W-2 or 1099 position, and instead of putting that in a stock market or some mutual fund that's making 7% with a bunch of fees on it. To me, putting your money in some real assets makes a lot of sense.
100%, dude. So, and I think it's something.
So I wanted to do that myself before I started helping other people take advantage of the opportunity.
It gives you empathy towards, hey, guys, I'm looking to raise money for some of my projects. And by the way, how I'm paying you is exactly how I get paid when I invest in different projects, right? So it gives you a level of, I think it gives your investors a level of comfort, a level of confidence in you of being like, hey, you know what? This guy's a straight shooter and he's very fair because he's paying me the same way that he gets paid. So, and here's the other thing, like, dude, early on in business, one of my mentors, when I first got started, he's like, dude, I lend my money to other people on deals, and I borrow money for my deals. And I was like, well, why would you do that? Why don't you just use your own money? And that way you don't have to give up more of a return and this and that. He's like, dude, because it doesn't matter how much money you have. With like your level of ambitions, you're eventually going to run out.
You're going to run out of money. And I realized that pretty quickly.
And dude, so it's better to then lend your money out, earn passive income, have that empathy that comes from it, and understanding of what's it like to be on the lender side of the coin, and then it makes you a better borrower of private money, and it forces you to be out there raising capital all the time. Because, dude, what you don't want to do is find yourself back into a corner because you've been lazy in raising money and using your own money for the past 6, 12, 18 months. And all of a sudden now you got to go and raise money and scramble to finish this deal. Dude, I'd rather see you doing that. It's a muscle. It's like exercising. You got to go and do exercise every single day.
I'm working there. I'm heading that direction.
So
got the LPs.
So what does that look like? Tell me what is because I know ideally in Alaska, you'd love to raise money. There's a lot of people who have capital in Alaska that want to deploy it. Maybe not as many.
And multiply it.
Yeah, and
you said it. There's a lot of people that know how to make the money. There's not a lot of people that know how to multiply it, including myself. When I was W-2 making 6 figures, I would make it, and it would get taxed, and then we would spend it. I was never multiplying it.
So what does that conversation look like? You've started to have some conversations. You're working on raising money. You obviously know how to deploy it because you have the network through Legacy Family of great operators that you can deploy the cash with. So now the idea is go and raise money, pay a great fixed return to them, or maybe you raise money for a project, you bring it to an operator, they give you preferential equity. So they say, hey, kick you a little bit extra equity, still pay the investors the same way. It's a win for them, it's a win for you, it's a win for the operator because now it's one less thing that the operator has to deal with, So have you started starting to have those conversations, starting to kind of plant those seeds, just letting people know what you do and how you do it?
I've talked to a couple operators within Legacy and mentioned, hey, I'd love the opportunity to help raise money for your project. And 1, you have an awesome track record. 2, I love the project. And 3, we don't have these opportunities up here. So it'd be cool to be a part of it that way. How I saw it going.
And I'm sure that's warmly welcomed, right, by a lot of the operators. Because a lot of the operators are good at operating, or they're good at finding deals, or they're good at raising money. Not many of them can do all 3. So I think that would be warmly welcomed. What are you finding on the side of people who you're talking to in Alaska about deploying money? Like, what does the conversation look like?
I've had a few brief ones, and it's very warm. I mean, it is. People understand that in a hyperinflationary environment, real estate's the best asset to own during that period of time. So you got $100,000 in a savings account making 0.00125%, and it's getting eroded daily by 6-7%. People understand that,
and so that's the beauty of it, dude. It's like you don't have to go and sell somebody on this. You just need to educate them on it, right? You just educate that this is even an option. A lot of people don't even realize that they can't, that they can invest in anything that's other than the stock market or mutual funds or bonds. Like, guess what? You can passively lend your money to a guy like you, and then you, who's an expert in your field, can then go and deploy it into good deals of your own or with other operators. And then it allows you to kind of arbitrage or get paid like a little piece of equity for helping that operator raise the money. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, so I've been kind of ramping up. Bought the eightplex, buying the storage. I wanted a track record. I wanted a little bit of a track record before I started asking for other people's money.
So are you used your own money on the 8 unit?
Yep.
And what are you using on the storage?
Half of our own money, and then I raised the other half for the down. Yep.
Good.
Yep.
And then, so you're taking that one down. When does that close?
We signed yesterday on my iPhone on the plane.
Oh, good. And like a 60-day close?
It's actually a pretty unique setup. So we're going to do a master lease to take control of the property.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's vacant. We're going to get it filled, get operations, dialed in, get the NOI up as much as possible, and then go after some long-term debt.
Love it, dude.
Yeah.
So how long is the option that you have on
2 years.
And the lease is in line with that,
Yes.
2 years? So that allows you to take over control of the property.
Yep.
Without actually having to go through a closing and all that stuff. Like you signed the agreement yesterday. So from the time that you guys went from either letter of intent or at least a commitment of some sort, it's under contract. You now control it.
Correct.
And I think that's a great lesson, is that you don't have to go out and own the real estate right now. If you just take control over it, you can now have a master lease, right? You're paying a fixed amount to the seller. Mm-hmm. And then as you raise the rents or bump up occupancy and create more efficiencies in the expenses and all that kind of stuff, it allows you now to then make a spread on that, on the rental revenue, on the cash flow play. And then once you spread it, make it enough of a spread, you can take that option contract and exercise it, which gives you the right to buy it at a certain price point.
That's been specified within the master lease.
Yeah, so this seller can't jack up the price on you 2 years from now. It's a fixed price point now, and allows you 2 years to go and work on the project, stabilize it, and then go back to the bank. And all of a sudden, I'm making up numbers, but say you're buying it for $500,000 and now it's worth $1 million. They give you a 70% loan on that. Boom, dude, you pay off the seller $500,000. Maybe you can even take $200,000 and put it in your pocket, or at least get your money back out that you put down on it.
Or even if I had 10% into it, now I own a cash flowing commercial asset with upside.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. What'd you pay your investors on that?
I'm actually giving them 10%.
10%?
Annualized.
Annualized return?
It's debt investment.
Straight debt?
Straight debt.
That's great.
Yeah, and they're happy with it. It was actually sitting in their savings accounts, making 0.002%.
Yeah.
So it's working for them, it's working for us, and now the work begins.
Yeah.
Tish is actually going to be COO on it.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So she's all excited.
She's a boss.
She's a boss.
So what does it look like for the next 12 to 24 months? Kind of like, all right, so you're an LP in different positions. You bought an apartment.
Got the eightplex.
You bought a storage unit. Like, what does the next 12 months look like putting your head down?
Yeah, it's stabilizing the eightplex. I'm actually remodeling the units on that, stabilizing the storage. We got to do a complete, occupancy on it.
Yeah.
Continuing to, sell for active income. Mm-hmm. And then make my first goddamn hire, so I don't have to sit around that round table in Denver.
So I wanna. All right. So I have two questions. The first is, do you think you need a real estate license to begin investing? And do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think you need it, or do you think it helps, or what are the benefits and the downsides of having a real estate license as you get into the investment world?
So absolutely not. You do not need a real estate license to invest. There are pros and cons to having your license and to not having a license. Has it helped me? Yes. I've been able to make a good living selling, and I'm exposed to real estate all around my area all the time. So it hasn't been a negative for me.
Yeah.
But I could have stayed in my W-2 plumbing job, making good money, hired a realtor to help me look, got with wholesalers, and skipped all the realtor stuff.
It's kind of like jumping in the deep end, though. It's like it forces you to network with the other real estate professionals right out of the gate.
Yeah.
For a little bit, I was really anti real estate license, and But the reality is, dude, I had my real estate license, right? I had it in New York, and then I got it again in Cleveland, but that's because I had a management company. It wasn't really to broker and make money on my own deals. I think that's kind of a misnomer of, you don't need to do it. Like, if you want to do that, you're going to be doing real estate agent activities, right? And you don't need to do that.
Yeah, which sometimes takes away from the focus on your investing activities.
Exactly, and that's the thing.
That's
then
the
you're less of an
double-edged
investor.
sword. Yes.
You know, so it's come to a point for me. It's hard for me. I can't tell somebody to not get the real estate license, because there's definitely going through the classes and learning that stuff.
I'll tell you the number one
does give you some good advantages.
The number one thing about becoming a realtor, it forces you the hell out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Forces you to learn how to network, forces you to learn how to lead generate. Like, all the things that investors do, you know, that's what you have to do to be a successful realtor.
Yeah.
So,
but
no, it's definitely not
what I don't want to see people do is like, oh, I'm going to go get my real estate license so I can get in real estate. And I did that because I thought that was the process, but I just want people to know that it's not what they have to do, you know? Like, they could, but it does give, you know, I probably needed a little bit more of that formality and you know, somebody to hold my hand and coach me and point me in the right direction, which I wouldn't have had, or probably didn't even know which direction to start off in if I tried to just figure it out on my own, you know?
Yeah.
So I think there's definitely some benefits to it. What I don't want people to do is get caught in being a realtor.
Absolutely
when
not.
Really the value and the long-term wealth is created by being an investor.
Yes.
Because if you're doing realtor activities, you're gonna get paid realtor income, right?
Yep.
Which could be good.
Yep.
But I'm telling you, there's way more wealth to be built by being on the investor side of the
100%.
coin.
Yep.
You know? Interrupting this broadcast to bring you a special announcement. No, I'm just kidding. But if you do have serious interest in Legacy Family Mastermind, that's our highest level mastermind. It is the highest value mastermind in the entire country for the price point. It's unbelievable how much value we pack in there. Go to legacyfamilymastermind.com. Watch the video of everything that's included, and you can sign up right there as well. And we do 3 events per year. There's daily support calls as kind of a board of executives for your company, where you can jump on any day of the week and talk to my board of execs to give you insights on how you can take your business to the next level. Again, we do 3 events per year. You get access to the Commercial Empire deal flow software for free, and all sorts of other digital assets and benefits to plug it into that. So go to legacyfamilymastermind.com. Would love to invite you into the fam. Back to normal broadcasting. So in the next 12 months now, you wanna focus on continuing the income on the realtor side.
Refining the business to the income streams I have
with
systems, processes, and people. And then take that income and then actively pursue being involved in capital raises for my own projects in Alaska. And then I would love to have about 3 different operators.
We need to share this. I want you to, you're going to share this on your social media, right? When it comes out. Like, I think the biggest key for capital raisers, everybody wants to go and raise money. They're not telling people about it enough, right?
Sure.
And like, dude, this gives you an opportunity to talk to people and say, hey, here's exactly how we're raising money. Here's what a typical deal looks like. Like, ideally, what kind of deal do you want to deploy money into, and how would you structure it for private money investors?
Yeah. So being an LP myself, I understand what I'm looking for as far as returns, equity, you know, capital, getting back my capital. So my vision is to have a few projects in Alaska that I take down and bring investors on with, and then help about 3 or 4 operators in the States raise capital on their projects.
Yep.
I love your model. I love the 9 to 10% preferred return on, let's say, $100,000 paid monthly or quarterly, whatever the investor wants. Mm-hmm. I love the equity play. Like, I'm an equity guy.
Yep.
On one of them, I'm getting 4% on that share.
That's great.
So 2.5 to 4% of equity in the deal. Ideally 24 months, but you know, probably 24 to 36 month payback of the initial capital.
Which is a big deal, dude.
Yeah, it's huge.
To be able to get your money back, have a predictable return while it's invested, and then get your money back, and still maintain your equity, even though it seems like a small piece. Dude, 4% isn't that bad when you're talking about a larger apartment complex.
No.
You know, like, dude, Jeff Bezos only owns 11% of Amazon, right? Elon Musk only owns 22% of Tesla. And dude, they're the richest, wealthiest people because they're not focused on how much equity, but they still have a piece of equity in a larger pie.
Yeah, well, when you get your 100 grand back, your returns are infinite. Exactly. Whatever cash flows and sale event happens after that, it's so that's the model I'm going to use because I believe in it, and that's something I want to provide for people.
And it's hard to compare it to anything else. There's nothing else that, hey, the stock market, too volatile, right? You got bonds. Well, it's a fixed return, but guess what? It's going to get slaughtered as inflation comes in, right? You don't want your money stuck in that. Cryptocurrency, hey, you can get some big gains, but a ton of volatility, a lot of risk involved in that. You have, you can invest in other businesses and things like that. But dude, where is the predictable income with equity upside,
cash flow,
with cash flow,
depreciation benefits,
with depreciation, and offsets inflation? This at the same rate that inflation occurs,
and the velocity of the capital, right?
And
you put
velocity.
The 100 out, you get it. Then you own this apartment complex. You get cash flows. You get the 100 grand back. You go do it again.
Do you think
you keep doing that, and it adds up quick?
Do you think somebody needs hundreds of thousands of dollars in order to get going? Dude, my first investment was 75 grand into a deal, and I'll tell you, it was like some of my favorite money that I get on a passive basis. Is it just, dude, I don't have to do anything, right?
Yeah.
It just hits my account, and like even if you're starting with a smaller amount, 25 grand, 50 grand, or 10 grand, if somebody's willing to take that amount, dude, get it and play.
I think that one of the biggest...
It's a muscle, right? You start out benching, with 25 pounds on each side, and then you add another 10 pounds on each side, and then you add another 20 pounds on each side, and then all of a sudden, you got a couple of plates on there. Dude, you got to start out with small dollar amounts and just get the money and play.
Get in the game.
It's
you got to get in the game. But one more thing, though. There's a huge opportunity out there I think that a lot of people are missing the boat on. I personally did this strategy this year. I got a first lien HELOC position loan on my home. Mm-hmm. So essentially, went out, got a HELOC, which paid off my original mortgage with Wells Fargo. Now they're out. Now I essentially have checkbook control of 80% of the value of my home.
Love it.
Minus what I owed, which I had a really good equity position from owner building in my home 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. Took that money. Used it
at what percent rate?
3.75%.
3.75.
It is variable based on LIBOR, but I just checked it the other day. It's still at 3.75.
Does it have a ceiling or a floor?
It does. That particular product is ceiling at like 9.
Okay.
But who knows? Yeah, dude, 9's the ceiling.
Guess what? You still know how to make more than 9% return because the two deals that you're just an LP in are still getting 9 and 10% return.
I took, I had about 300 grand. Bought 2 LP shares, right? Mm-hmm. Now I have equity, I have cash flow, I have all this depreciation. Bought 8plex, buying storage. When the whole time that money would have been in my sheetrock.
Yep.
And it's huge.
Dude.
There's so much equity in people's houses and they just want to just clinch onto that feeling of a paid off house for what?
I think, depending on where you are in your life and what your ambitions are and stuff, hey, maybe there's a peace of mind level that makes sense. But the reality is, like, guys like us, dude, we know how to make shitloads more than 3.75% on our money, right? And so if you're okay with having that debt, not having debt that's just wasteful material debt and unsecured debt, it's debt secured by a cash flowing asset that also appreciates in value. That is the best kind of debt that you could possibly have. So by taking money out at 3.75, you've taken 100 grand of it and you're getting a 10% return. So there's a 6.25% spread there, arbitrage. There's a 9% return, so it's 5.25% on that deal.
Sure.
On that $100,000. And you got another $100,000 that went down on the between the 8plex and the storage facility, right?
Which the depreciation from all that makes all of my income go away from my earning commission on my income. My earned income. Yep. So you got to factor that in there.
Love it.
Yeah,
love it.
It works.
So. I love it, dude. It's amazing. No, it's exciting to see just kind of what's happened. Did it happen as quick as you wanted it to?
Hell no, nothing ever happens as quick as you want it to.
But
it happened slow and fast though. Like if I think about it, I mean, last year, all what I just talked about, all happened last year. When I was at Commercial Empire a year ago, and I'm just like, all right, dude, you got to quit watching these courses. Buying another course isn't going to help you.
Yep.
You got to go start swinging.
I love it, man. No, the days are slow, but the years fly by, right? They talk about that with kids. That's like that in business too. It's like the days are slow and you get, kicked in the balls and you get punched in the gut and hit in the face and all this other stuff that you have to go through. Then all of a sudden it's like 12 months later and like you accomplished a lot in 12 months, right? What most people could take 20 years to do. And you've been able to do that in 12 months. And so it's not fair to compare yourself to what other people are doing or what other people have accomplished in 12 months. But dude, think about where you started and where you are today. And more importantly, that compound effect's working underneath the surface.
It is.
And dude, you're gonna do 2 to 3 times as much this year. You're gonna do 5 to 10 times as much next year.
Yeah.
Why? Because I've been there, dude. I know exactly what happens if you just keep swinging the bat.
Yeah, and surrounding yourself with people doing big stuff. I mean, it's just by osmosis, it's got to happen.
Yep.
So.
Yep. I love it, man. Well, dude, this is a great conversation. I appreciate you being here.
No, I appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you being on Spill the Beans.
Yeah.
And dude, just excited to see where everything goes over the next 12 months.
Love it, man. Looking forward to the rest of the mastermind.
All right. Awesome. Well, I hope you got a ton of value out of that episode of Spill the Beans. Please make sure, give them a follow and connect with them on social media. And if there's ways that you guys can do some business together, we'd love to see it. And if you did get some value, please share it on social media. Give me a like, give me a comment, give me your biggest takeaway in the comments below. And subscribe to the channel. The reason we do this is so we can make a bigger impact. So please do share this on any different channel that you possibly can, and give me some feedback. I'd love to hear what you liked, what you think we could do better with. Any questions that you have, post them below, and I'll do a video specifically answering some of your questions. So until next time, see you on Spill the Beans.